Sayembu, Sayembu, Sayembu.
My name is Polelo Dupa Ngunkutwe Tebalo. I am the chairman of Sayembu. I am Musara from Kudumane in Mababe. Sayembu is a group that aims to get back ancestral land of Basarwa, Bayeyi and Bahambukushu. Currently, the group focuses on getting back the ancestral land of these three tribes at Moremi Game Reserve. Moremi Game Reserve is currently on the spotlight debate of ownership between the Botswana government and Batwana tribe. As a group, we feel it's unfair for Botswana government and Batwana tribe to fight for Moremi Game Reserve and leave us out of it when we, Basarwa, Bayeyi and Bahambukushu, are the rightful owners of Moremi Game Reserve. We are therefore requesting for advocacy from international human rights organizations to help us, Basarwa, Bayeyi and Bahambukushu tribe, have proper representation in this debate. We would prefer to have a third stakeholder team that is going to be formally invited and formally included in all meetings of this debate to represent Basarwa, Bayeyi and Bahambukushu tribe and ensure they get a fair share of their ancestral land at Moremi Game Reserve. Having said this, I am handing over to my colleague, the Vice Chairman, to give a detailed account of this matter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Holisiri Dylan Washington Taylor. Tribally, I identify myself as SME from Shorobe. I would like to recap what's going on here. Basically, we have a dispute between the Botswana government and Batwana tribe over the ownership of Moremi Game Reserve. Moremi Game Reserve is the biggest island in Okavango Delta, which the Botswana government has turned into a successful tourism attraction business, generating an income of over 60 million pula annually. The debate of ownership of Moremi Game Reserve has erupted, and the Botswana government is represented by the Batwana Land Board in the foreground, while in the background it is backed up by the current president of Botswana, Mokgweetsi Masisi, the former president of Botswana, Ian Khama, who is also the paramount chief of Bangwato tribe, and his younger brother, Tsekedi Khama, who is the minister of tourism. The Batwana Land Board, Mokgweetsi Masisi, Ian Khama, and Tsekedi Khama are therefore forming the first stakeholder team which is representing the Botswana government in this debate. The second stakeholder team, which is representing the interest of the Batwana tribe in this debate, is a team which is led by the paramount chief of the Batwana tribe, Kgosi Tawana Moremi II. Currently, the team that Tawana has some Basarwa, Bayeyi and some Bahambukushu people there, but most of them are just bootlickers who worship him as the paramount chief of Batwana, and therefore will not be in a good position to negotiate a fair share on behalf of the Basarwa, Bayeyi and Bahambukushu tribe. Another thing to look at here is that the paramount chief of Batwana, Kgosi Tawana Moremi II, has for more than 20 years avoided consulting the people of Ditshipi, Shorobe, Sankuyu, and Mababe. And these people are the immediate descendants of the people who, of the Basarwa, Bayeyi and Bahambukushu, who used to live in the Moremi Game Reserve. So, and as such, that is been confirmed by the proximity of these people who are not far from Moremi Game Reserve. The fact that the paramount chief of Botswana, Tawana, has avoided these crucial people, has avoided consulting with these crucial people, confirm in itself that the paramount chief of Botswana has some ill and some dishonest plan to use the not to use the benefits of the Moremi Game Reserve as he has constantly been outlined. It confirms that the paramount chief of Botswana, Tawana Moremi II, does not have an honest plan to use all the profits of Moremi Game Reserve to benefit all the people of Ngamilan fairly. Tawana Moremi's consultation has so far only been limited to people in Maung who live around his place, like the Kota, the chief's palace, whereby he's only consulting with people who are either Botswana, the real Botswana, or his bootlickers. Those people who usually go to attend his meetings there are either people who bootlick him or who worship him, and they just give a false impression that everyone in Ngamilan is agreeing with him, when in reality they disagree with what Tawana is doing. Now, our complaint is that the Basarwa, Bayeyi and Bahambukushu tribe have been completely ignored out of this debate, which is currently focused only on the interest of the Botswana government and the Botswana tribe. Despite them being ignored from this debate, the Basarwa, Bayeyi and Bahambukushu tribe are the rightful owners of Moremi Game Reserve. It is their ancestral land, which was historically taken away from them by the Botswana, helped by the Botswana government, using unfair means like intimidation, force, deception, and others. We are therefore requesting that there has to be a third stakeholder team that will clearly represent the interest of the Basarwa, Bayeyi and Bahambukushu tribe in this debate. I'm going to take you through a brief history of Ngamiland, and in particular look at the three native tribes of Ngamiland, the Basarwa, Bayeyi and Bahambukushu tribe, and look at how these tribes got oppressed by the Botswana tribe, which was generally helped by the Botswana government, and how this oppression led to these three tribes losing much of their ancestral land, which include the Moremi Game Reserve. The history of Ngamiland begins with the Basarwa tribe, which is historically the first tribe to arrive in Botswana. In Ngamiland, the Basarwa settled along the coast of the Okavango Delta because they didn't have a reliable transport to take them through the islands of Okavango Delta. The Basarwa tribe lived there for more than 200,000 years before the arrival of the second tribe, the Bayeyi tribe. The Bayeyi tribe originate from an area far north of the Okavango Delta, somewhere in the DRC region. They just migrated south and then settled in the Okavango Delta somewhere in the 1700s. When they first came to settle in the Okavango Delta in the 1700s, the Bayeyi tribe generally settled in the eastern part of the delta. They settled in villages like Gubatsa, which later came to be known as Savuti, Mababe, Sankuyu, Vumbura, Shorobe, Ditshipi, Mau, and Sihitwa. Some of the Bayeyi tribe traveled west to settle in villages like Nokane and Gumare. The Bayeyi tribe brought with them the dugout canoe, also known as the Mokoro. By using the Mokoro, the Bayeyi, Basarwa and other tribes that came after them managed to access the islands of Okavango Delta, where they settled and lived there for many years.
If it's busy, but it's not so busy anymore.
It's not too busy anymore.
Hello. So you've got a lot of a day off.
Yeah. Slightly higher in the water.
Hey, do
Ra?
Bahambukushu also came to the Okavango in the early 1700s, shortly after the arrival of the Bayeyi. Bahambukushu also came from DRC region. They just took a different route that was taken by the Bayeyi tribe. The Bahambukushu generally settled in the western part of Ngamilan along the mainstream of Okavango River. They settled at Mohembo, Shakawe, Etsa and Sepopa. Basarwa tribe were scattered all over the whole delta when the other tribes found them there, but nowadays Basarwa are concentrated in villages like Mababe, Chakaba, Kwai, Gudigwa, Betsa and Jau. There was another tribe called Basobia, which settled in the nearby district of Chobe, also in the early 1700s. This tribe settled along the coast of Chobe River. They settled at villages like Kachikau, Satau, Parakarungu, Mabele, Kavimba, Sorondela, and they later migrated to Kasane, the capital city of Chobe. These four tribes lived peacefully with each other, living a life of fishing, hunting, gathering, growing crops and raising livestock. The Botswana tribe arrived in Okavango in the 1800s. They were a breakaway tribe of Bangwatu in the central district in the south in Serowe. This tribe originally came from South Africa and is the Tswana speaking tribe. Basically what happens is that when the paramount chief of the Bangwatu tribe died in 1795, his two sons, Kama and Tawana, fought for the throne. Tawana was badly defeated, so he took his faction, which consisted of 12 people, and migrated north. Tawana's tribe of 12 people, which he later came to name after himself as Batawana, meaning people belonging to Tawana, moved up north until they reached Ngamilan, whereby they settled at Khwebe Hills first, and then after that they moved to settle at Toteng near Lake Ngami. When the Batawana tribe of 12 people first came to Ngamilan in the 1800s, they found the other tribes already living there, the Basarwa, Bayeyi and Bahambukushu. But the Basarwa, Bayeyi and Bahambukushu, being friendly tribe, welcomed them in to stay there peacefully. The 12 people tribe of Batawana over time grew to become politically dominant over all the other tribes of Ngamilan, until they eventually turned them into slaves and even collected tribute from them. So in this documentary, we are going to look at how did the Batawana tribe, which originally consisted of 12 people, grow to become politically dominant and eventually enslaving the Basarwa, Bayeyi and Bahambukushu tribe. We are going to look at the factors that led to these things happening, the factors which led to this oppression, and which eventually led to the Basarwa, Bayeyi and Bahambukushu tribes losing their land, firstly to the Botswana tribe, and then eventually losing their ancestral land to the Botswana government. Since this discussion is about Ngamiland, we are going to leave out the Basobia of Chobe for now, because we simply want to concentrate on the Basarwa, Bayeyi, Bahambukushu, and how Botswana came to conquer them and take away their ancestral land. So here are the factors that led to this oppression and conquer of the native tribes of the Ngamiland area. The first part is the peaceful nature of the native tribes of Ngamiland. The Basarwa, Bayeyi and Bahambukushu are very, very peaceful tribes which aim to live peacefully with other tribes. They are not land conscious, and they're not politically ambitious to dominate other tribes. So, and they are also, on top of that, they are also honest and welcoming tribes. So the Botswana tribe, which is a complete opposite of these three tribes, took advantage of that, because the Botswana tribe are full of deception and intimidation and all those things. They played all those dirty tricks to eventually politically dominate all these other tribes and conquer them and turn them into slaves. The second point there is illiteracy. The Basarwa, Bayeyi and Bahambukushu tribe were illiterate compared to the Botswana tribe. To understand this point, you need to look at missionaries. Missionaries came from South Africa and they moved up north. So when they arrived in Botswana, they first interacted with the tribes that are in the southern part of Botswana, and in particular the Bangwatu tribe. Now, the Bangwatu tribe is related to the Botswana. Like we've already said that the Botswana are a breakaway tribe from the Bangwatu tribe. So when the Bangwatu got some literacy from the like reading and writing knowledge from the missionaries, the Bangwatu tribe, the Botswana tribe, which was up the north, was able to go down and mingle back with the Bangwatu and got literature from them. So that's how the Botswana managed to get literacy over the native tribes of Ngamiland, because they were able to mingle with the missionaries and through the Bangwatu. Literacy helped the Botswana tribe to dominate the native tribes of Okavango region, which were illiterate. For example, firstly, we look at the contracts, particularly the land contracts. The Botswana tribe were able to sign land contracts which favored them, because the other tribes, the native tribes, were literally blind. They didn't know what they were signing and all that. So this led to Botswana signing all those contracts which favored them to get away the land from the native tribes of Ngamiland. Yes, so Botswana tribe was able to deceive much of the native tribes there and got their land through deception. And partly at times it was also coupled with intimidation and other unfair means. And in addition to that, the Botswana were able to trade. The Botswana tribe was able to trade with the traders at the time. For example, there was near Lake Ngami, there was a time when there was lots of ivory trading at the time. Botswana were able to hunt so many of the elephants from the Ngamiland district and sold them to the traders there. So the Botswana, particularly the Botswana royal family, was able to become rich through this kind of trading. While on the other hand, the other people there, the majority of the other people there who are not even Botswana, because in Ngamiland, 95% of people there are not from Botswana tribe. That 95% was impoverished, while the Botswana royal family on the other end became rich from selling ivory. The third factor here is unfair Botswana government working hand in hand with unfair Botswana paramount chiefs. Basically, in 1966, Botswana got independence from Britain. The Bangwatu tribe, which was the dominant tribe at the time, took advantage of everything there, like from literacy to land ownership to the pioneers, that include like Khama the Third, to dominate the new government of Botswana in such a way that when Botswana got independence in 1966, the Bangwato tribe got a very, very high majority of all the political positions there, including the first president of Botswana, Sesiretse Khama, who was the paramount chief of the Bangwato at the time. The Botswana government continues to be dominated by the Bangwato tribe even up to this day. It is a Bangwato-oriented government. It favors Bangwato as well as the friends of Bangwato or relative tribes of Bangwato like the Batawana. So, for example, in Botswana, the paramount chief of any tribe can only be installed and be recognized by the Botswana government as the top authority. So, since 1966, the Botswana government refused to recognize and install any chief of the native tribes of Ngamilan. That is, the government refused to install the paramount chief of Basarwa, the paramount chief of Bayeyi, and the paramount of Bahambukushu tribe. The government of Botswana instead installed only the chief of Batawana to be the paramount chief of all the people and tribes of Ngamilan, to rule over all those tribes. This move was very unfair, and then it therefore led to the native tribes of Ngamilan, the Bayeyi, Basarwa, and Bahambukushu to start feeling less or and inferior compared to the Batawana tribe, to an extent whereby they started looking down on their culture and ethnicity. And it is during this period that much of their culture was lost. Many of the people of Ngamilan, the Basarwa, Bayeyi, and Bahambukushu began to falsely identify themselves as Batawana. They falsely called themselves Batawana as a way of bootlicking, a thing which up to now, up to modern days, even the government of Botswana up to now encourage that bootlicking. The government of Botswana encourages all the people from other tribes of Ngamilan to falsely call themselves Batawana. And up to now, the Botswana government has made it formal to some way that everyone in Ngamilan, by all the tribes of Ngamilan, everyone there, the Basarwa, Bayeyi, Bahambukushu, to call themselves Batawana. This unfair labeling of the people of Ngamilan, all the tribes being labeled as Batawana, is very, very, very unfair, because the Batawana tribe composite only up to less than 5% of the entire population of Ngamilan. But regardless of this, the Botswana government has always favored Batawana and named almost everything in Ngamilan after the Batawana. Even the government department that is responsible for allocating land in Ngamilan has been named as Batawana Land Board. Everything from buildings to roads to hospitals and schools, the very, very high majority of them have been named after Batawana chiefs and paramount chiefs and so on. The Basarwa, Bayeyi, and Bahambukushu also initially had their own native languages, but that language was lost. Most of it when Botswana became an independent country and started favoring the Batawana tribe, to a point whereby most of these native tribes were forced to abandon their language in favor of speaking the Setswana language, which is the language of Batawana and all the other tribes that are Tswana related, like the Bangwato. That is the brief history of Ngamilan and its native tribes in short. So now, having said this history, I would like to move on to the current agenda of the dispute over the Moremi Game Reserve. I just want to go on detail onto it, like how it came to be, and our request as well. Currently, we have a dispute between the Botswana government and the Batawana royal family over the ownership of Moremi Game Reserve. Moremi Game Reserve is the ancestral land for Basarwa, Bayeyi and Bahambukushu tribe, because they used to live there a very long time ago before the arrival of the Botswana tribe in Ngamilan. And just like most of the ancestral land which they lost, the Botswana got Moremi Game Reserve from them, dressed up under the title of property of Botswana tribe. Basically, what happened is that somewhere in the past, the Botswana royal family, the Botswana paramount chief, managed to get a small piece of what is now called Moremi Game Reserve, a very, very small piece, part of it. They managed to get that piece through unfair means like deception, intimidation, and all that other stuff. So eventually, they managed to get that small piece from the Basarwa, Bayeyi, and the Bahambukushu tribe. And then in 1963, the Botswana royal family made an agreement with the Botswana government that that piece of land should be made a game reserve. The agreement was that this game reserve, which was then named Moremi Game Reserve, was going to be managed by the paramount chief and the royal family of the Botswana tribe, and that its profits will benefit all the people of Ngamilan. All the people of Ngamilan here being vaguely referred to as Botswana. Yes, in the contract, the term there was of Botswana was supposed to mean was vaguely supposed to mean everyone in Ngamilan. The Botswana paramount chief managed Moremi Game Reserve from its beginning in 1963 up to 1986. In 1986, Moremi Game Reserve was apparently mismanaged and full of corruption, such that it was no longer a profitable business. Basically, what happened is that during that time, the paramount chief and the royal family managed Moremi Game Reserve in a corrupt way, to an extent that the profits that were being generated from it were only benefiting the paramount chief and the royal family. So in 1986, due to this corrupt move and other corrupt related things that were in Moremi Game Reserve, prompted the game reserve being transferred from the custodianship of the Botswana paramount chief and the Botswana royal family to be transferred to the custodianship of the Botswana government. The Botswana government has therefore been managing Moremi Game Reserve for 30 years, from 1986 up to now, and has managed to turn the Moremi Game Reserve business into a successful business, generating more than 60 million pula, which is around $6 million every year. In 1998, the Botswana royal family started its first attempt to get back the Moremi Game Reserve from the custodianship of the Botswana government. But the Botswana government has been refusing with the game reserve for a very long time now. It led to a debate which is still going on up to now. Sayembu has come through as a motivation to prompt the creation of a third stakeholder team in this debate that would clearly represent the interest of the Basarwa, Bayeyi and Bahambukushu tribe. Currently, the Basarwa, Bayeyi and Bahambukushu tribe are in a way vaguely represented by the paramount chief of Botswana, Kositawana, who has currently mobilized the fact that, saying that since he is the paramount chief of Botswana, it means that he is also representing the Basarwa, Bayeyi and Bahambukushu tribe. However, we found that this is inappropriate because, firstly, the word Botswana itself is oppressive of other native tribes of Ngamilan, because it forcibly gets all the other tribes, the Basarwa, Bayeyi and Bahambukushu, to falsely identify themselves as Botswana, something which make them feel inferior. It degrades them and make them lower than the Botswana tribe. It just turns them into bootlickers. Given this, we need to have a third stakeholder team that will directly comprise of Basarwa, Bayeyi and Bahambukushu representatives, who will clearly identify themselves as Basarwa, Bayeyi and Bahambukushu, and represent their interest fairly in this debate. There are also some important factors that need to be looked at into this case. For example, when Moremi Game Reserve was set up in 1963, it was a very small piece of the entire island. The Botswana government forcibly and unfairly increased this small Moremi Game Reserve over time to cover the entire island by forcing out all those Basarwa, Bayeyi and Bahambukushu who lived in the other part of the island to relocate out of the island to other places like Ditshipi, Shorobe, Mababe and Maun. Basically, what the government of Botswana did is that it built some facilities, or let's say development, outside the Moremi Game Reserve in those places like Shorobe, Ditshipi and Mau. The government built there schools, hospitals, and other things. And then the government came to the people who were living in Moremi Game Reserve and told them to relocate to those places as a way of getting closer to developments. So the residents of Moremi Game Reserve relocated there. The latest ones who moved from there were around the 80s, around 1986. That was when the latest people from Moremi Game Reserve last relocated from Moremi Game Reserve. And while they were relocating to those new places, the government of Botswana slowly took away their ancestral land and increased Moremi Game Reserve to cover the entire island there as it is today. So this point here brings in questions like you'd ask yourself, is the Batawana Paramount Chief looking to get back Moremi Game Reserve when it was in the beginning, when it was a small piece of land, when it was transferred from them to the custodianship of the government? Or are they looking to get it as a whole piece of land that it has become after the government of Botswana unfairly expanded them by forcing the residents of Moremi Game Reserve to migrate away from it? The case with the Moremi Game Reserve is much similar to that of New Gadi, of Basarwa of Gadi and New Gadi in the CKGR region, whereby the government pushed out the Basarwa out of CKGR to go and settle at New Gadi in pursuit of developments and so on. Yeah, so it was exactly the same which happened. It's like the government have the same formula everywhere they go. If they want to push out people out of an area, they build development somewhere else so that those people leave their area to move to those developments. Like in this case, whereby the government built development elsewhere and push the people who used to live in Moremi Game Reserve to leave Moremi Game Reserve. This case is very similar to that of the Basarwa of CKGR. The only difference here is only that the Moremi Game Reserve relocation case happened quite a few years back in the 80s, when the international eye was not watching, was not aware of it. But while the relocation that is now happening at CKGR is happening in the eye of the international eye, when the human rights organization like Survival International are able to look at it and advocate against it. Another thing to look at here is that the Botswana government is dominated by the Bangwatu tribe, in particular the Bangwatu royal family. So as we speak, the government is running the Moremi Game Reserve and everything there in a corrupt way, in such a way that it generally benefits the Bangwatu royal family. Because as we speak, the paramount chief, the royal family of the Bangwatu, which comprises of people like Ian Khama, the former president, and the minister of tourism, his younger brother Tsekedi Khama, are the biggest benefactor of tourism in Botswana. They literally dominate and own the tourism sector of Botswana, and this is one of the reasons why they are actually benefiting. Because the reason why they are dominating is because they control those areas unfairly through corruption. So if you look at this closely, you find that the current wrestle over the ownership of Moremi Game Reserve is a wrestle between the Bangwatu royal family and the Batawana royal family. All this, but it has been dressed up to look as if it's a wrestle between the Botswana government and the paramount chief of Batawana, who is trying to represent all the people of Ngamiland, when in fact that is just a dress up. What is happening is that it is just a wrestle, which is a greed oriented wrestle between two royal families of two tribes to benefit unfairly from a resource which is supposed to belong to the tribes of the native people of Ngamiland. Another thing to look at here is that the Botswana government has deliberately neglected the fence that is separating the wild animals from the Moremi Game Reserve from interacting with the people of Ngamiland. Therefore, so many wild animals continue to leave Moremi Game Reserve and interact with the people of Ngamiland, causing a serious human-wildlife conflict. The most common human-wildlife conflict that we now find in the Ngamiland area are foot and mouth disease. Basically, the foot and mouth virus is carried by the buffaloes which transfer that virus to the cattle of Ngamiland. So far in Ngamiland, the cattle farming there is no longer a viable business because of that viral infection of the foot and mouth disease. This has impoverished many people in Ngamiland who were generally earning their living from raising cattle and so on. Due to foot and mouth disease, they are not able to sell their cattle because the government of Botswana has passed so many laws that cattle which has got foot and mouth disease are not supposed to be sold. And there's to a point that Ngamiland has been cut out from selling their meat to any other parts of Botswana. This conflict goes on with arable farming. Like we have big animals like elephants which leave Moremi Game Reserve and then go to destroy farmers in the Ngamiland's crops, which is costly, particularly that the government of Botswana generally in many cases doesn't compensate the farmers whose crops have been destroyed. In addition to that, we also have dangerous animals like lions and elephants which constantly meet with people of Ngamiland and kill them. I mean, currently we have a situation whereby it's very, very common to hear of deaths in Ngamiland where people have been killed by wild animals from Moremi Game Reserve that have been led to run wild and free because the fence that is separating them and the people has been neglected by the Botswana government. It appears that this negligence is deliberate by the Botswana government because, as you can see, apparently there's been rumors that the Botswana government is neglecting this fence as a way to try and compel the people of Ngamiland to move away from Ngamiland, so that Ngamiland will eventually be a place where all the tourism will take place. Because as you can see, the royal family of the Bangwatu is benefiting directly from tourism. So it appears here that the Bangwatu family, that royal family, is willing to expand this tourism in Ngamiland, even if it means endangering or impoverishing the people of Ngamiland. Sayembu will therefore be willing to welcome any initiatives that can be used to reduce this kind of conflicts. For example, the HB party in Botswana, an opposition party, has offered the Ngamilan Game Reserve initiative, which would help to divide the Botswana into two different areas that allows that allows the people of Botswana to rear cattle, as well as allowing the very huge chunk of Botswana to be used for tourism and game reserves. But the most important part being that it will be able to divide Botswana in a way that is very, very efficient and effective and safe, to show that something like this, to show that it is possible to run both tourism and farming effectively well in Botswana if they are run in a good way. This brings us to the end of this discussion. One thing we need to note here again, we want to go back and reiterate the fact that we are asking for international human rights organizations to really help us in this. We are really begging on them to help us so that we can create a third stakeholder team that would help the Basarwa, Bayeyi and Bahambukushu have a better representation in this debate. If we can be helped as an organization to get established, we will be looking forward to helping other tribes of Botswana whose ancestral land has also been unfairly taken away from them by the Botswana government. For example, in the future, if we can get help and get established, we would help other organizations, other tribes of Botswana. For example, the Basobia in Chobe, the Bakalanga in Northeast, Batswapong, Basarwa in Nata, around the Nata sanctuary place, the Babirwa, who have lost most of their land to the Tuli block and the Mashatu Game Reserve. We also have the Basarwa of CKGR and other tribes of Botswana that will have interest in this. We are going to help to ensure that they also get international recognition in this matter, because it appears that the Botswana government has oppressed and taken away much of the ancestral land of many tribes unfairly. So we are really asking for international organizations to help us in this debate, because we are sure it is going to open doors for many tribes of Botswana to also get help from international organizations. Thank you.